You are fired. Triple H just fired Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker after the attack on Paul Heyman. Wait, Triple H just fired Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed, the two monsters who just liberated themselves from Paul Heyman's control, who destroyed the vision from within, who were being positioned as the next generation of WWE main eventers. They're gone because they put their hands on Paul Heyman. So WWE is telling us that attacking a non-wrestler manager is somehow more serious than all the violence wrestlers inflict on each other every single week. This is absolute insanity. This is either the most short-sighted decision Triple H has made as head of creative, or this is an elaborate work designed to create sympathy for Bron and Reed before they show up somewhere else. But if this is real, WWE just fired two of their most promising young talents to protect a 58-year-old manager who's made a career out of manipulating people. The priorities are completely backwards. I am furious. I am confused. And I am absolutely demanding that someone explain how this makes any sense from a business, creative, or logical standpoint. Drop in the comments right now, do you think this firing is real or a work, and if it's real, is Triple H making the biggest mistake of his creative tenure? Because the wrestling world is in complete shock. WWE's official social media accounts and Triple H's personal account just confirmed that Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed have been terminated from their WWE contracts effective immediately following their attack on Paul Heyman. This isn't a suspension, this isn't a storyline punishment, this is being presented as actual termination. Question for the WWE contract experts: can WWE actually fire talent for in-ring/on-screen actions, or does that violate the independent contractor agreements? The legal implications matter. Let me break down exactly what Triple H said in his statement, why this decision is causing outrage across the wrestling community, and what this means for everyone involved including Bron, Reed, Heyman, and WWE's entire roster. Triple H's statement was posted across all WWE platforms and reads, paraphrased, effective immediately, Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed have been released from their WWE contracts. While WWE encourages physicality and competition among our superstars, there is a line that cannot be crossed. The unprovoked assault on Paul Heyman, a valued member of the WWE family and a non-competitor, crossed that line. This behavior is unacceptable and will not be tolerated under any circumstances. Unprovoked. Unprovoked. Paul Heyman spent months manipulating these two. He used them as weapons. He played mind games. He positioned them against each other. And when they finally stood up for themselves and rejected his manipulation, that's considered unprovoked. The statement continued, WWE is committed to providing a safe working environment for all employees, including those who do not compete in the ring. Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed demonstrated a lack of professionalism and judgment that cannot be overlooked. We wish them well in their future endeavors. Future endeavors is the death sentence phrase in WWE. That's the corporate speak for "you're done here." That's what they say when someone is actually fired, not storyline fired. Should WWE have different standards for attacking wrestlers versus attacking non-wrestlers, or is violence violence regardless of the target? This distinction seems arbitrary. The wrestling community's reaction has been explosive and divided. Reaction Camp 1: this is terrible. WWE just fired two future stars over a storyline attack. Triple H is protecting Paul Heyman at the expense of young talent. Reaction Camp 2: this is clearly a work. WWE is creating buzz before Bron and Reed show up in AEW or another promotion. It's all strategic. Reaction Camp 3: this is the right call. You can't attack non-competitors. WWE is setting standards and showing that actions have consequences. Reaction Camp 4: this is confusing. WWE fired them for doing what the creative team told them to do. That makes no sense. Which camp are you in? Give me your number, 1 to 4, and explain your reasoning in detail. Let's examine the evidence this is a real firing. Evidence 1: the official WWE statement uses legal language, terminated contracts, not storyline language. Evidence 2: Triple H personally signed off, which suggests this is beyond creative control. Evidence 3: Bron and Reed's profiles have been moved to alumni section on WWE.com that's typically reserved for actual departures. Evidence 4: multiple WWE sources are reportedly confirming this is legitimate, not storyline. Evidence 5: the timing makes sense. WWE is cleaning house and making roster cuts for budget reasons. Now let's look at evidence this is a work. Counter evidence 1: WWE has done fake firings before. Mick Foley, Daniel Bryan, others as storyline devices. Counter evidence 2: firing your two most promising monster heels makes zero business sense unless it's leading somewhere. Counter evidence 3: the attack on Heyman happened on WWE programming during a WWE approved segment. How can they be fired for following the script? Counter evidence 4: this generates massive buzz and speculation, which is exactly what WWE wants for attention. Counter evidence 5: both Bron and Reed are too valuable to legitimately release. Someone would have fought against this decision. Which evidence is more compelling? Real firing or elaborate work? Build your case. Let's discuss what this means for Bron Breakker specifically. Bron is a second-generation star. His father Rick Steiner, his uncle Scott Steiner wrestling royalty. WWE typically protects legacy talent. Bron has been positioned as a future WWE champion since his NXT debut. He's exactly the type of talent WWE builds around. He's only 27 years old with unlimited potential. Firing him now would be abandoning years of investment and development. But here's the counter-argument: maybe WWE sees him as too similar to other power wrestlers they already have. Maybe there's backstage politics we don't know about? If Bron Breakker is legitimately fired, does he immediately become the hottest free agent in wrestling? Where does he go? AEW, NJPW, back to independence? Now let's examine Bronson Reed's situation. Reed has been criminally underutilized for years. This was finally his moment to break through as a main event talent. Reed's size, agility, and in-ring ability make him unique. There aren't many 330-pound wrestlers who move like cruiserweights. He's been a team player, taken whatever role he's given, and finally was being rewarded with a significant push. Firing him now right when he's getting momentum would be the definition of WWE wasting talent. But the counter: maybe Reed's injury history concerned WWE? Maybe his ceiling wasn't as high as they hoped? Should Bronson Reed have stayed in NXT where he was champion, or was the main roster move still the right call despite this outcome? The Paul Heyman protection angle is what has people most angry. Heyman is 58 years old and hasn't been a full-time wrestler in decades. Why does attacking him warrant firing when attacking active wrestlers is just storyline? Heyman's entire character is built on manipulation that justifies retaliation. He's played the villain for 30-plus years. WWE has shown far more graphic violence against wrestlers. Why is Heyman special? The inconsistency suggests either favoritism, Heyman is protected because of his relationship with WWE, or this is storyline. Does Paul Heyman have so much influence backstage that he can get people fired for storyline attacks? That would be problematic. The roster reaction, reported by sources, is apparently mixed. Some wrestlers support the firing, believing there should be protection for non-competitors. Others think it's ridiculous to fire talent for following creative direction. Some are scared this sets precedent. If Bron and Reed can be fired, anyone can. Veterans are reportedly confused because similar or worse actions in the past never resulted in termination. The locker room uncertainty this creates is toxic. Nobody knows what's safe anymore. Should WWE have consulted the roster before making this decision, or is that unrealistic in corporate structure? The business implications: if this is real, AEW would immediately offer contracts. Tony Khan loves signing ex-WWE talent, especially ones released controversially. NJPW might make offers. Both Bron and Reed would fit their strong style perfectly. Independent promotions would book them for huge money on the free agent buzz. WWE loses two talents they invested years developing. That's wasted money and resources. The stock market might react negatively to WWE making questionable talent decisions. From pure business perspective, does firing rising stars make any sense, or is this proof it's a work? The historical context of WWE firings: Vince McMahon fired people on screen frequently, almost always storyline. Triple H as head of creative has been more realistic. When he says fired, it usually means fired. But WWE's history of worked shoots makes everything questionable. The line between reality and kayfabe has never been more blurred. Should WWE be more clear about what's real versus storyline, or is the ambiguity valuable for engagement? The potential storylines: if this is a work, Scenario 1, Bron and Reed appear at AEW, creating cross-promotional buzz, eventually return to WWE as conquering heroes. Scenario 2, they're fired but immediately return under different gimmicks or with different allegiances. Scenario 3, this is the start of an underground storyline where fired wrestlers fight outside WWE authority. Scenario 4, Triple H is the villain who fired them unjustly, leading to their eventual triumphant return against him. Scenario 5, they join another promotion legitimately, and this firing was WWE's way of writing them out. Rank these scenarios by likelihood of actually happening, most likely to least likely. The legal questions are fascinating. Can WWE fire independent contractors for on-screen actions they were directed to perform? Could Bron and Reed sue for wrongful termination if they were following creative instructions? Does WWE's independent contractor status protect them from these kinds of decisions? What does their contract language actually say about termination causes? This could set legal precedent for wrestler employment status. Should wrestlers unionize to prevent arbitrary firings like this? The labor rights question. Social media reactions from fellow wrestlers have been telling. Some posted supportive messages to Bron and Reed suggesting it's real. Others posted cryptic messages that could be interpreted as "this is a work." A few veteran wrestlers criticized WWE's decision, publicly risking their own positions. Many stayed silent, which could mean they know something we don't. The pattern of responses doesn't clearly indicate real or work. Final questions before we wrap. 1. Do you believe Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed were actually fired? 2. If real, is this the worst decision Triple H has made as head of creative? 3. If a work, is this brilliant storytelling or manipulative and confusing? 4. Should attacking Paul Heyman be treated differently than attacking wrestlers? 5. Where do Bron and Reed go next? AEW, NJPW, back to WWE, or elsewhere? Give me your answers to all 5 questions with reasoning. Here's my ultimate take: I desperately want this to be a work because firing Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed makes zero sense from any rational perspective. They're young, talented, improving, and we're finally getting the push they deserved. But the way WWE has presented this with official statements, legal language, and roster page changes suggests it might be real, which would be absolutely baffling. If it's real, Triple H just made a catastrophic mistake that benefits AEW and hurts WWE's future. If it's a work, it's the most elaborate and potentially damaging one in years. Paul Heyman being the reason for this firing, if true, would be the ultimate irony. The manipulator who used people for years gets people fired for standing up to him. The ambiguity is frustrating because we can't properly react. Are we mourning lost talent or appreciating creative storytelling? We don't know. Let me know everything in the comments. Real or work? Justified or ridiculous? Where do they go next? And if you made it this far, drop rehire them if you think this is wrong, or it's a work if you think it's all storyline. Subscribe for updates as this situation develops. Like if you're as confused and angry as I am. And share because everyone needs to weigh in on this shocking decision. Until next time, question authority, support talent, and I'll see you in the next one.